7.1 Solving Inequalities. Inequalities are very similar to equations, except we have those inequality signs, so less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or is not equal to. Sometimes we're going to be adding to solve, subtracting to solve, multiplying, dividing. When we multiply or divide each side by a negative, you need to be careful because you need to switch the way that the inequality sign opens. So if we look at some examples, we're solving and graphing these. For A, we have m minus 9 is less than 2. So we're going to solve this just like we would in an equation. Add the 9 to both sides. We get m is less than 9 plus 2 is 11. So m is less than 11. When we go to draw this, we are going to draw a number line. Our 11 will be in the middle. We're going to have the two numbers that surround it, so 10 and 12. We are going to have an open circle on the 11 because our inequality sign does not say that it is also equal to, and our line will run to the left. Your actual inequality sign will point to the way that your line will run as long as your variable comes first in your statement. If we look at example B, we have negative 8k is greater than or equal to 16. So we're going to divide each side by negative 8. Because we are dividing each side by a negative, that sign switches as well. So we're going to have k is less than or equal to negative 2. So on our number line, we're going to have a negative 2, a negative 1, and a negative 3. We are now going to have a closed circle on this negative 2 because it's also equal to. Our variable comes first, our line will run to the left because our sign points to the left. For C, we have 8c plus 10 is less than or equal to 50. So we're going to add the 10 to both sides. And we have 8c is less than or equal to 60. Then we divide each side by the 8. In this case, we can keep... we're subtracting 10, not adding 10. Wow. Subtract 10 from each side. We're going to have 8c is less than or equal to 40. Now this will work. Divide each side by the 8. We have c is less than or equal to 5. So on our number line, we are going to have 4, 5, and 6. We are going to have a closed circle on 5, and then our variable comes first in our statement, so our sign points to the left, our line will run to the left as well. If we look at example 2a, it says Trina is buying 12 shirts for the drama club. She will choose a style for the blank shirts and then pay an additional charge of $2.75. From there, for each shirt to have the club logo. If Trina cannot spend more than $99, how much can she spend on each blank shirt? All right, solve an inequality to find the possible cost of each blank shirt. So with this, go from the very beginning. We have that she's buying 12 shirts. So if she's buying 12 shirts, that 12 is going to be somewhere in our inequality. She can choose a style for the blank shirts and pay an additional charge of $2.75. So it would be the 12 plus $2.75 per shirt. So from there, if she cannot spend more than $99, how much can she spend on each blank shirt? So this is going to be, first we have to find out how much each of the shirts would cost with the $2.75 attached to it. So we are going to take the $2.75, multiply it by 12. We are going to get $33 if we multiply these two. From here, we're going to put this into our inequality with the 12 and the 99. So we have 12 shirts. They're going to cost something a piece, plus the $33 if she puts the logo on it. Now, she cannot spend more than $99, so this price has to be less than or equal to $99. So this is our inequality. Now we have to solve it for that x. So we're going to move the 33 over from each side. We get 12x is less than or equal to 66. Then we divide each side by 12 and get that x cannot be less than or cannot be greater than 5.5, which is $5.50. So she cannot spend more than $5.50 per shirt. If we look at B, it tells us that Sergio needs to buy gifts for 8 friends. He wants to give the same gift to all of his friends, and he plans to have the gifts wrapped for an additional charge of $1.50 each. If Sergio spends at least $70, he will receive free shipping on his order. Write in Solving Inequality to determine how much Sergio needs to spend on each gift in order to receive free shipping. So we're going to start by doing the 8 times whatever the gift costs plus the $1.50. So this is going to be 8 times x plus 150. Now it says that if he spends at least $70, so that means that this price has to be greater than or equal to $70. From here, we're going to distribute that 8. We're going to have 8x plus 12 is greater than or equal to 70. We move that 12 over by subtracting it, and we have 8x is greater than or equal to 58. From here, we divide each side by 8, and we get that x is greater than or equal to 7.25. So he has to spend more than or at least 7.25 or $7.25 for each gift. Our next example says that Zachary is planning to send a video game to each of his 2 brothers. If he buys the same game for both brothers and pays $4.75 to ship each game, how much can he spend on each game without spending more than $100? So this would just mean that you have 2 times the x plus $4.75, and that it cannot be greater than 100, so it's less than or equal to 100. From here, you would distribute the 2, so it's going to be 2x plus 950 is less than or equal to 100. We move that 950 over, subtract it from each side. We have 2x is less than or equal to 50. Okay, so from here, we're going to divide each side by the 2, and we get that x is less than or equal to 45.25. So $45.25 or less is what he can spend on each gift. If we look at example 3, we're back at solving and graphing these inequalities. So for A, we have 4/3 times 6x plus 9 is less than 4. We are going to distribute that 4/3 in, or we can go ahead and multiply each side by the 4/3. It's totally up to you. Either way, we are going to cancel out that fraction by doing this. So if we distributed it, we would have 4/3 times 6. The 3 would turn into a 1. The 6 would turn into a 2. So that's 4 times 2x, which is 8x. Then 4/3 times 9, the 3 would turn into a 1, then 9 would turn into a 3, so 4 times 3 is 12, is less than 4. From here, we're going to move that 12 over, we subtract it from each side, so 8x is less than -8. Then we divide each side by 8, and get that x is less than -1. So on our number line, we're going to have 0, -1, and -2. We're going to have an open circle on that -1. Our line points to the left because our sign points to the left, and our variable comes first. For B, we have -2 times 1/4 x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 5. So again, we can distribute this -2 first if we would want. -2 times 1/4 is -2/4, which is -1/2 x. -2 times 2 is -4. It's greater than or equal to 5. So we're going to add that 4 to both sides, and we get -1/2 x is greater than or equal to 9. Then we're going to multiply each side by the 2, and we end up the negative 2. And we end up with x is less than or equal to negative 18. Remember, you switch that sign because you're multiplying each side by the negative. So on our number line, we're going to have a negative 18, a negative 17, and a negative 19. We're going to have a closed circle on that 18, and our line's going to run to the left because our variable comes first in our inequality, and our sign points to the left. Sometimes we are going to have these inequalities with variables on both sides. If we look at the next example, it says the Daily Info charges a fee of $650 plus $80 per week to run an ad. The People's Paper charges $145 per week. For how many weeks must an ad run for the total cost to be less at the Daily Info to be less expensive than the cost at the People's Paper? Let W be the number of the weeks the ad runs in the paper. So for the first one, we have $650 plus $80 per week. Then the second one, we just have $145 per week. So it tells us to find the total cost for how many weeks must an ad run for the total cost for the Daily Info, the one on the left, to be less expensive. So that would have to be less than the $145. So we're going to solve this. Get your W's by themselves. So we're going to subtract 80W from each side. We're going to have 650 is less than 145 minus 80 is 65W. From here, we're going to divide each side by the 65. And this is going to give you 10 is less than W. We want to rewrite this so that way the W comes first. So W is greater than 10. So that just means more than 10 weeks. For our next example, it says that the home cleaning company charges $312 to power wash the siding of a house, plus $12 for each window. Power Clean charges $36 per window, and the price includes power washing the siding. How many windows must a house have to make the total cost from the home cleaning company less expensive than the power cleaning? Let W be the number of windows. So we have the first situation, that's $312 plus $12 for each window. Then we have the other situation that's just $36 per window. We want to know how many windows it'll take for the cost for the home cleaning company, the one on the left, to be less expensive, so that would be less than the one on the right. So we are going to get our W's together once again. We're going to subtract 12W from each side. We have 312 is less than 36 minus 12 is 24. W. Then we are going to divide each side by 24. The 312 divided by 24 is 13, is less than W. So we rewrite this with W is greater than 13. So it would just mean that it would have to be more than 13 windows. That looks like a 43. For our next example, it says the school band will sell pizza to raise money for new uniforms. The supplier charges $100 plus $4 per pizza. That's 100 plus 4 times P. The band members sell the pizza for $7 each. So that's 7 times P. Write and solve an inequality to find how many pizzas the band members will have to sell to make a profit. So the 7P would have to be greater than. So we're going to start by subtracting the 4P from each side. We have 100 is less than 3P. Then divide each side by 3. And we have that 33.3 repeating is less than P. Now, if we rewrite this, we're going to have P is greater than 33.3 repeating. So we're going to move that up 1, so that would be 34. A number greater than 33.3 repeating, that's a whole number, is 34 or more. For our next example, we're solving and graphing these inequalities without the word problems. They just have the two variables on both sides. So we are first going to get the variables together. We always want to bring the one variable that's lesser over to the one that's greater. So in this case for A, we're going to subtract 4x from each side. We get 2x minus 3 is less than 7. We're going to move the 3 over by adding it to each side. We get 2x is less than 10. And then divide each side by 2. We get x is less than 5. So on our number line, we're going to have a 4, a 5, and a 6. We're going to have an open circle on 4, and our line goes to the left because our variable comes first in our inequality and our sign points to the left. For B, we have 2 times w minus 8 plus 9 is greater than or equal to 3 times 4 minus w minus 4. So we're going to first distribute that 2 and distribute that 3 to get 2w minus 16 plus 9 is greater than or equal to 12 minus 3w minus 4. Now combine your like terms. The negative 16 plus 9 combines to get 2w minus 7 is greater than or equal to, and then the 12 and the negative 4 combine to give you positive 8, so that's going to be 8 minus 3w. Again, you want your w's together, so we're going to move this 3w over so that way we're working with a positive w, and we're going to get 5w minus 7 is greater than or equal to 8. From here, move the 7 over, add it to both sides. We're going to get 5w is greater than or equal to 15, and then we're going to divide each side by 5 to get w by itself. We have w is greater than or equal to 3. So on our number line, we're going to have 2, 3, and 4. We're going to have an closed circle on 3. Our line points to the right because our inequality sign points to the right when our variable comes first in our inequality. For C, we have 4x is greater than 4 times x plus 2. So we're going to distribute that 4 to get 4x is greater than 4x plus 8. The 4x is going to move over to the other on the left side to give us 0 is greater than 8. Now this is a false statement. So when you have a false statement, it's no solution. If it was something that was true, like 9 is greater than 8, then we would have infinitely many solutions or all real numbers. For D, we have y plus 5 is less than 7y minus 6 times y minus 1. So we're going to distribute that negative 6. We have y plus 5 is less than 7y minus 6y plus 6. So we're going to combine our like terms on the right side to give us y plus 5 is less than y plus 6. Then we move the y over. Those cancel, so we are left with 5 is less than 6. Now 5 is less than 6. That's a true statement. So because this is a true statement, we have all real numbers.